wish the whole city was here to listen to that introduction. I feel pretty good about myself. That was really nice. I appreciate that. I know Grant has to take off. He's got to catch a flight to do business. So Grant, have a great trip, and thank you so much for doing what you do. Folks, I'm really pleased to be here this morning. Sheldon, as always, great job to you and your team in enabling the city to be at the forefront of so much of what we offer. And it wouldn't be possible if we didn't have outstanding people, outstanding champions like all of you participate and give back. Let me begin by talking a little bit about the diverse membership that makes up the Mississauga Board of Trade. It's because of this activity and your engagement that gives this board and this city so much more attraction at times than we hear from other areas. And you know, it's your businesses that have helped make Mississauga a strong economic and vibrant community. Just look at the fact that you're doing a trade show of this consequence is a great opportunity of bringing people together. And I'm so proud to always say when I'm out there, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Mississauga. And they have a sense and an inkling of understanding of what we're about because of the activities and the engagements that our city brings. Dozens of employers are represented and hundreds of potential employees will attend this event, and many will find jobs as a result of these connections. Connecting employers and potential employees who are new to Canada and ensuring that these newcomers are job ready is an important part of the work being done at the Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration. That's because immigration is an economic imperative for Ontario. As employers, you already know how newcomers can improve your bottom line. They have the skills, knowledge, connections to help reach markets here and around the world. Immigration is driving growth in communities like Mississauga. These newcomers are contributing to the success of your business and the overall success of our city. Our government is determined to continue attracting highly skilled newcomers from around the world to fuel Ontario's prosperity. And once they get here, our goal is to help newcomers thrive, because when they succeed, so do our businesses and our communities. We have another great opportunity to put our diversity to work, and Grant spoke a little bit about my role in the 2015 Pan and Para-Pan Am American Games. Along with the Citizenship and Immigration portfolio, my responsibility for the Games is critical. It's a good fit, as we'll be welcoming over 40 countries and 10,000 athletes, officials, and coaches to our province and our country. Just to put in perspective, the Pan Am Games in 2015 will be roughly 2.5 times the size of athletic involvement than the Vancouver Games or the Calgary Games in the winter, just because they're summer sports. Mississauga is proud of its diverse population. Many cultural, multicultural communities exist and have come together as neighbors here. I just looked around the room to see the different faces that exist here, the people that I've come to know, working together in cooperation, regardless of the issues that happened elsewhere in the world. Here at home, we put that away and we work together. And every one of the 40 Pan-American nations has a presence right here. And I know that people are going to be cheering on athletes from their home countries. To build on that spirit of community, I'm calling on all Ontarians from all of our diverse communities to become involved in the Games. The Games will also be a huge economic driver, one of the largest in the regions over the next 3 years. Mississauga will play its part by hosting some of the combat sports over at the Hershey Center. And the Games will bring tourist dollars to Mississauga and the GTA with more than over 250,000 tourists. And as a result of the new sporting facilities and upgrades to existing ones, the Games will create more than 15,000 jobs. So as I mentioned earlier, I see my responsibilities for the Pan Am Games and for citizenship and immigration as very closely related. Both have important implications for our economy, and both play a role in community building and drawing strength from our diversity. Like many of you, I come from an immigrant family. I know what it's like for a family to leave for a new home in hopes of finding a brighter future. With my business background, I bring some different perspective at times in our discussions at the table and in public service, and I know how important a strong economy is to helping all of us realize our hopes and dreams. And immigration has an instrumental role in shaping our city and our province, and it will do so even more in the future. So here's a short overview of how we're supporting the integration of newcomers into the labor market and helping employers in Mississauga build highly skilled workforces. Through the provincial nominee program, we're helping businesses attract and retain the workers they need. It allows the province to select newcomers who have an approved job offer in Ontario for permanent resident status in Canada. As well, international master's or PhD students graduating from Ontario universities can be nominated for the program without a job offer. What we want are those students to think about locating their lives and careers right here in Ontario, right after graduation. But attracting newcomers is only half the battle. Retaining them and helping them succeed is critical. And we'll do this chiefly in two ways: specialized language training and bridge training. Occupation-specific training, language training, is a win-win for newcomers and employers. When an employee improves their language skills, an employer gets a motivated, capable employee who can function better on the job. Employers like this program, and the uptake is steady. I recall introducing that program in one of our own Mississauga companies with around 300 employees on the job, on the floor. And a big part of what motivated a lot of those employees to work and stay and be part of that company's family was their program of specialized training. And it did a lot to engage those employees who became champions and leaders within that organization. And the president and the owners of the companies appreciated the work being done because it helped their staff succeed, helped them become more proficient in languages, and helped them be more part of our society. So it's a great offering, and it's a great opportunity for employers to use in trying to not only attract employees, but motivate them and to kind of help everyone succeed. Bridge training bridges the gap between careers in different countries. More than 50,000 highly skilled newcomers have benefited since 2003. This is a great labor pool for businesses to pull from. Ontario has partnered with Ontario Chambers of Commerce, with Mississauga Boards, and a number of others. We're working with local chambers and boards of trade to help enhance hiring and retention practices and spread the word about the benefits of internationally trained professionals. Someone's here today who I worked with quite closely. In fact, she was my boss at Royal Bank, and she's now the president and CEO of Career Bridge. And Lamont is here, who's been quite a champion in some of these endeavors over many years, even prior to taking the role she has now. Even as an executive of the institution, she was always drawing on the strength of bridge programs. And it's essential that we partner in these initiatives for, again, the benefit of not only the newcomers, but for the corporations and for society generally. And here in Mississauga, the Board of Trade has launched the Global Skills Working in the Mississauga program. And this helps local employers successfully integrate skilled newcomers into the workplace. That's an outline of some of the key ways the ministry is bringing business and newcomers together so each can benefit. And remember, we're facing future labor shortages. It's absolutely essential that we put out the welcome mat. Attracting, settling, training, and employing the world's best and brightest is the only way Ontario and Mississauga will compete. We've seen the future, and it's right here in Mississauga. This community is a great example of how newcomers can contribute to economic growth and be an integral part of our society. The question becomes, how do we secure this future for Mississauga and the rest of the province? Ontario remains the #1 destination for newcomers in Canada. The new 2011 census date, released last month, indicates that very fact. Ontario receives more immigrants than all the Western provinces, all the Atlantic provinces, and the 3 territories combined. And our newcomer retention rate is among the highest in the country. That's all good. But we need the federal government, which has a central role in selecting immigrants to Canada, to step up and support Ontario's needs when it comes to immigration. The federal government, as you may know, has cut settlement funding in Ontario for the 2nd year in a row now. These cuts do jeopardize the ability of newcomers to integrate, and in some respects threatens our economic progress. The changes introduced in Ottawa over the last decade also serve to dry up some of the supply and talent that newcomers arriving in Ontario through our most robust newcomer pipeline, the Federal Skilled Workers Program. And under this program, annual admissions to Ontario declined by more than 55,000 between 2001 and 2009. Ontario is also the only province now without an immigration agreement with the federal government. The bottom line is the federal government controls who comes here and in what numbers. And Ottawa continues to make unilateral decisions that affects Ontario, including cutting settlement funding, and I'm trying to change that. The federal minister, who I know well over many years, and we're trying to establish some form of engagement to repair and improve what it is we're facing in Ontario and in Canada. And he, by his own admission recently, has said that we've been saying for quite a long time that federal policies are hurting Ontario. And clearly Ontario needs to have more control over immigration, and we need to chart our own course. That's why, as mentioned during the introduction, I recently established an expert roundtable on immigration to drive the creation of Ontario's first ever immigration strategy. Immigration is our past, and it is also our future. If Mississauga is going to continue to lead today for tomorrow, as the city's motto states, then I encourage employers in our city to lead by example. Hire newcomers, put their skills to work, strengthen your workforce, and your bottom line. A great place to start is our Global Experience Ontario, which I believe a booth will be outside, and our staff will be delighted to help you. But let's continue to work together to make Ontario and Mississauga a beacon for the best and the brightest in the world. I'm really proud of the work that many of you do. I'm really proud of the people I've come to meet from around the world who are now making Canada their home. And I'm really encouraged by their enthusiasm and desire to contribute and to provide value. And it's because of the work that you do and that this Board of Trade is offering, like events today, which speaks volumes. And it speaks also not only of our economic imperative, the need to provide more prosperity and growth in our communities, it also talks about our compassion and our social recognition of what's necessary, because they have a lot of children and families. And I spoke a little bit about the cuts that have occurred of late, and what I'm talking about is the impact it has on those kids when I've gone to see them in those programs. We know that in Ontario, the demand for skilled labor and for newcomers is high. That's why the backlog is so huge. That's why we need to address that backlog. But at the same time, we have to ensure that funding and programs are available to source and supply those needs. And I do a lot of talking, but you do a lot of working. And so I appreciate the efforts and the work that you do